Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everyone. And this is a live streamed on YouTube. So I will be very happy to share with you after the class the link. And there is no need for you to be confused if the Zoom is not available for you. Okay. So I will start directly recording all this conversation, especially related to today's uh, discussion related to different types of uh, philosophy related to education. And why do we need to talk about philosophy again, as it is discussed earlier in the previous group work? Philosophy talks about the love of wisdom. And there are tens of philosophies available, but we identify the seven most common one related to the philosophy itself. The first one is Essentialism, which deals with teaching the basic skills or fundamental arts, such as reading, writing, arithmetic, and right conduct. Yeah, I think this is the movement of back to basic. Yeah, the discussion about the movement of back to basic, and I've learned that the most renowned scholar in the US is Hirsch, related to this. And the emphasis of this essentialism is to make sure that students master the subject matter. That's the first thing. So the subject matter of reading skills and writing skills and arithmetic. In other words, you also focus on the literacy, that's the reading skills, and also numeracy, that's the counting skills. You know, you need to learn the arithmetics, the math skills. However, there is also a danger related to this philosophy, and especially because it is too reductionist by nature. So when you buy the idea of essentialism too much, it is very likely for you not to appreciate other things. And even essentialists' view is considered to be unwelcome. In, say, for example, psychology, in psychological perspective, because you will accept only a limited number of things, but you will never be able to appreciate different things. And the second one is perennialism. So perennialism is related to the teaching ideas, that teaching ideas are everlasting, lasting for many years. And therefore, if you believe in perennialism, you need to teach students to think rationally and develop their thinking critically. So we focus on great books. We discuss about Bibles, Al-Quran, Veda, and other books of great values. And the problem is that it is teacher-centered, right? Because the focus is on the teacher. The Socratic method here is that teachers need to propose questions. Yeah, and the students are asked to answer the questions. And I can see I have conducted research on Darul Ulum Jombang, and they focus on Al-Quran and also buku kuning. And what they do is to read over and over again, and the Ustad will explain the concept of as presented in the buku kuning. I happen to enjoy the process of this kind of learning when the teacher rehearse or repeats, and then try to explain little things and try to connect what the stories from the buku kuning, the yellow book, and to connect things to their lives, to the lives of santri. The danger of perennialism, I think, is when new things are not appropriately appreciated. So when you buy the idea of perennialism too much, so it is very likely that you will certainly neglect our contemporary ideas, which are also good. So again, you can see that one particular philosophy doesn't necessarily match all the needs of today. So the next issue is related to progressivism. And from the progressivist perspective, education comes from the experience of the child and to develop learners into becoming enlightened and intelligent citizens. So I remember back to in the 1900s, from John Dewey's perspective. John Dewey was an American philosopher who was considered to be the greatest thinkers in the 1900s, 1900. And his books were published around 1930s. But basically, the idea of progressivism is in order to support the development of children. So one way of portraying the progressivism is the child developmentalists, those believing in the potentials of students to learn, and therefore the curriculum must respond to the students' needs, and that relates to their personal lives and experience. And how do teachers with progressivism in mind teach? And teachers employ experiential methods. So what is meant by experiential? So learning by doing is what is called by experiential learning. And again, we find the danger as well. If you rely too much on what is happening right now and what is the students enjoy too much, then, well, it is very likely that you fail to view what is in the past. A progressivist attempts to view things in the future, the present time of the students in the future. And at the same time, he or she may forget what people do in the past or had done in the past. So because it is future oriented, then it is very likely that you forgot something in the past as well. So what about experiential existentialism? It is the one that focuses on individuals' freedom to choose their own purpose in life. And existence means keberadaan. Existentialist is the one believing that each of us has a unique role in our life. Okay, and the reason why existentialism exists or appears is because we need to help students understand and appreciate themselves as a unique individuals. And we need to teach students in a way that will provide them a variety of options from which to choose. And therefore, humanities will receive a lot of emphasis here. And the way to teach is to focus on individual. Learning is self-paced and self-directed. And related to my life, I can tell you that existentialism works well for me. I was born as the fifth child in the family, and I learned that when I was 3 or 4 months in the womb of my mother's womb, my mom intended to have a family planning or keluarga berencana. And I was confused for most of my life, especially because I did not know that things went beyond my expectation. Even though I was the youngest of the family, or the baby of the family, I lost the privilege of being the youngest. And it was my sister who earned the privilege to be the youngest one. When I was about 40 years of age, and then I just realized that my mom told me the story of she intended to have the family planning when I was 3 or 4 months in the womb. And it explained that I was not meant to be. My presence on earth was not intended. It was just a coincidence. It was an accident. So I just realized that my presence in my family was not that welcome. And my wife, she's just a wonderful woman. She fully understands what is happening with my family. My family members seem to be not accepting me very well. And you know what happens in my life? Since my childhood, I really wanted to run away from my family. I really want to leave my family early. That was the reason why I joined seminary at Mertoyudan Magelang. And you know what happened? I was questioning myself, what happened in my life? So that was the reason why I started well. I want to know who I am, and I didn't give up easily because I want to show who I am. And that was me, my struggle of existentialism. That was me who holds the idea of existentialism as my philosophy of my life. And you know what happens? Here I am. I learned to be a self-paced and self-directed and with a very strong emotion to study well. Well, back to the concept. Existentialism has a danger as well. Because if you rely too much on the existentialist belief, then you will focus on things on a personal end. Learning is not merely about our individual reality, but also about social and moral realities. In existentialism, learning or collaborative learning is not encouraged. But here we go, we need to learn how to collaborate with other people. So collaborative learning is a bit neglected when existentialism is in place. So you need to be aware of it. So behaviorism. This is another philosophy, and the underlying belief is that the acquisition of new behavior based on environmental conditions. Yeah, humans are living in environments, and you need to modify and shape our behaviors to learn. And so, and so behaviorism requires us to teach the mechanism. Yeah, they just teach students to reason favorably to various stimuli in the environment. What does it mean? The teachers need to provide stimuli so that students need to respond And so a stimuli and response mechanism. If the stimuli is positive, then the response is positive. If the stimuli are negative, then the response can be negative or positive. So the role of the teachers is to create or to arrange environmental conditions. So I give you the quiz, for example, because I believe that you need to learn how to adapt yourself to this condition, especially related to online learning. And that's an example of behaviorism. And in a behaviorist perspective, teachers provide reinforcement and punishment. Yes, that's true. I usually ask your presence. I usually address your presence. And if you are absent from doing the assignment, I will check that out. And I will post in the WhatsApp group that these students are missing their completion of the task and so on and so forth. Well, again, there's some danger with the behaviorism anyway. If you rely on the behaviorism, then you will focus on observable behaviors. Well, the fact is, learning is not merely driven by external stimuli. And each student comes from unique backgrounds. A behaviorist approach focuses on uniformity, neglecting unique challenges or problems of the students in class. So here we go. We need to be adaptive. You cannot just follow behaviorism per se, right? And the next one is constructivism. Okay, let me make it bold so that it's, and okay. Well, I need also to explain the, here we go, later. So, here we go. So constructivism. So it is understood that people construct their own understanding. Excuse me. People construct their own understanding and knowledge of the world, you know. And when you come to this world as a baby, you try to understand the presence of your parents. And research has shown that as young as 1 or 3 days, you know, babies can understand, can differentiate his mom or her mom. and the way we construct our understanding of the world, of the knowledge and how the world operates, comes from day-to-day basis, and even until today. And even until this morning, I keep learning. I read the book from Yuval Noah Harari, 21 Lessons for the 21st centuries. That's an example, okay? And I learned a lot that the artificial intelligence becomes very powerful today, and especially it will create a new world where jobs are created and jobs are lost. 10, 15, 20 years to go. Well, I learned a lot from the book, you know. I love watching the YouTube, especially in the audio book. And then I learned a lot from Yuval Noah Harari, for example. I keep constructing the knowledge even until now. And so the constructivists believe that to develop intrinsically motivated and independent learners, you know, you mean that you need to get equipped with learning skills, you know, and we need to teach the students how to develop the critical thinking skills. And what to teach, students are taught how to learn. And the way to teach is students provide students with data experiences that allow them to hypothesize, predict, manipulate, pose questions, research, and invent. So this is the idea of critical thinking skills, you know. the ideas of critical thinking skills are here under the umbrella of constructivism. Yeah, you will also learn that the concepts like higher order thinking skills, like HOTS, and LOTS, lower order thinking skills later, right? So basically, you focus more on high order thinking skills. You know, you need to learn how to hypothesize. Hypothesize means providing answer or tentative answer to your questions. And you need to learn how to predict, you know how to manipulate ideas, how to pose questions, how to conduct research and invent. So in addition, then you will also learn to study what metacognition and self-regulated learning are all about. So you will certainly focus on that one, right? So what about the danger of constructivism? Yeah, the danger of constructivism is learning. Oh, I need to make it in a red color. Learning is complicated, and some students do not need to learn how to learn, right? Especially those coming from a very powerful family. I mean, powerful in terms of how to learn and adopt knowledge, right? So you don't need to teach them how to learn. Well, this is something that is interesting because I always try to introduce my kid to learn on my own, and I have embraced the self-regulation and metacognition, and also critical thinking skills with my kid. And since he was 7 years of age, I accompanied him to read stories, so that when he was at the 4th grade, he has finished about 350 novels, way beyond most children. And related to that, I would assume that learning to learn is not needed anymore because it's been comfortable for him to study well. Okay, so I think this is the last philosophy. And let me check out the time because I promise that it's going to be only 30 minutes. Yes, 60 minutes, 6 minutes to go. So, Reconstructionism, so it emphasizes the addressing of social questions and a quest to create a better society. So let me give you a further elaboration of this. You know, in 1929, the first capital market share catastrophe happen. Yeah, so the capital market share catastrophe happened. It was a huge problem at that time. The shares were down to a level of unprecedented moment. So this economic system had collapsed. That's the background of the history. And so researchers in the field of education, economy, and politics were bewildered by such dire condition, right? Hard Rock, a case in point, started to propose a new idea. He thought that the system was broken because people believe that the world was okay. He proposed that the world was totally broken. Yeah, he wrote a series of books discussing about the world history and rewriting the history. He earned the record of selling the books, best seller in 1933 to 1939, I think. Yeah. He intended to reconstruct the world that was heavily linked to broken system. And that was the reason, right? One of the reason of Reconstructionism is the belief that the world was broken. So we need to teach our students to have this social reform, to join the social reform. So the example is the curriculum focuses on students taking social actions in solving real problems. And social issues are dealt with inquiry, dialogue, and multiple perspectives. And this is community-based learning is utilized. So there is a lot of collaboration. There is a lot of collaborative learning that takes place. So what about the danger then? If you rely too much on the constructionism. In reality, Yeah, it is true that some of the world is broken, but not all, right? In addition, right, uh, reconstructionists are now associated with leftist press and NGOs or non-governmental organization. Usually, they are very good at finger pointing. What was wrong with the system, but little can be done with this attitude. So when you rely too much on Reconstructionism, you call it critical theory, you are good at criticizing, criticizing, but fail to propose solutions. Okay, now I think it's exactly the time that I need to give you the elaboration of what the philosophy related to education, and I hope it is enough for now. I will certainly share the link for you, especially those who happen to repeat this lecture, and have a nice day.